Wow, this is amazing.
C'est pas mal. Bonjour.
And we are live. Hello, bonjour.
Hi guys.
So we are My Private Paris, and we are here every Saturday for you guys. And this Saturday I'm with Bertrand.
Bonjour. And I'm with Marie.
Bonjour.
We are so happy to be right here, outside, outdoors, in the sun.
Yes, we selected the 7th arrondissement today, and I think we did right because it's all goldy around, and with the sun reflecting on the statues, it's marvelous. So we're going to have a look at this bridge. Maybe you recognize this bridge, guy. It's one of the known bridge of Paris. It was used in many movies, many photo shoots also for fashion. This is
the Alexander III Bridge, one of the most famous bridges of Paris. Not one of the oldest though.
No.
From 1900, right?
Yeah, the time when we wanted to secure our friendship with the Russian, and that's why we name it after not a French king, but a Russian Tsar. I don't know how you pronounce that in English, but yeah, Tsar.
Yeah.
So that's why it's called Alexander III, so in reference to this Tsar.
And it connects, so the 7th district where we stand right now, we are on the riverside. As you can see, compared to a couple of weeks ago, the flood is now over, so the river is much lower. And then to the other side is the 8th district, which is coming up, but in 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, we're gonna get there. And the building you can see just there, this is called the Grand Palais, it's the Great Palace. And this is a museum that also worth have a look, but it's on the other district. So we're gonna focus on this one today.
Exactly. So we have a lot of great things to show you. The 7th district is the one of the Eiffel Tower. Right.
Yes, we're going to see the Eiffel Tower probably at the end of this video, so follow us. During our little walk, we're going to see also the Invalides, so where Napoleon is buried. So if you're interested by French history
and Napoleon,
this is the perfect tour for you guys.
Because actually this is the 200th anniversary of Napoleon's death this year.
We have to do a little birthday cake or something for Napoleon in a shape of a hat.
Of a hat, yeah.
That would be fun.
And isn't it also a neighborhood where you have lived in, Marie, or studied? You went to school here?
Yeah, because my parents, so when they moved in Paris, so when I arrived, we were living by the Eiffel Tower, but on the other side, so actually in the 15th district. But
just so you know, guys, almost no one lives by the Eiffel Tower in Paris, but Marie, she did.
Yeah, I was very lucky growing up here, and so C'est bon? On remettra. And so so the Eiffel Tower is kind of the division between the 15 and 7 districts. So I was in high school in the 7th. So we're going to see also probably the street where I was growing up also. So that's
great.
Yeah, that's exciting. But maybe we can tell them how this the quai, les bords de Seine, also evolved during those last years. You can see some boats there.
I'm going to switch to the front camera to show that.
So those boats, I mean, I don't know for you, Bertrand, but I really like the second one, the Rosa Bonheur, the one where we can see after the black one. This is a club. This is actually a place where we can dance at night. Not right now because of all the problems going on.
Don't get me started on this.
But usually, this is a place where people are coming just to get a little picnic, have a glass of wine, maybe a pizza, and then they go dancing on the boat. So that's a pretty cool place also for Parisians to hang out.
We call this a guinguette.
Yes, and it's just by the most beautiful bridge.
Look at this view here. I mean, maybe we can just stay here and look at the river
all day.
Go by.
I mean, yeah.
You were saying we need a cake for Napoleon's death anniversary. Maybe this bridge does look like a cake a little bit. Don't you think?
Yeah, the decoration are a little bit too much. It's that's why we like it, but also it's because it's the only one like that. You know, if all the bridges of Paris were looking like that, maybe it wouldn't be that special. It was used, for example, in the Midnight in Paris, in the movie from Woody Allen, but also in the...
Do you think people remember this movie?
I don't know, but I did like the end, and it's here on this bridge. You have also the clip, by Adele, the singer, and she's also filming in Paris, but it's in black and white, but it's also here. Lancôme, Dior, all the greatest brands, they also filming here.
And actually, when we were about to start the tour, there was a shooting. There was a little girl dressed as a ballerina dancer with the ballerina shoes, and she was about to get to do a shooting on the bridge.
So maybe we can just show you some details of this.
Yeah, so because this is a bridge from the year 1900.
Yeah, it's written just right here, so we'll have a quick look at that. And 1900, it's also the time when the metro arrived in Paris. So it's
It was
already
a big year, yeah.
it's like the modernity time already. Maybe we can see the little detail also. So these used to be covered in gold, in gold leaf, but some people are trying to scratch, to get the gold out. So
it's tough times. What can you do?
Yeah.
And so, guys, that means that to this direction, if you go this way, you will get to the Louvre. This is the roof of the Louvre. So you get to the center of Paris. The river does a curve. And then if you go the other way and you continue straight this way, downwards, you're going south and you are going
16
out of Paris.
Oh, yeah.
So we are heading towards the 7th. And the 7th, how would you describe the 7th arrondissement? Who lives here? What would be the first words that come to your head?
Yeah, I think when you see the bridge, you understand what are the people living here in the 7th. Because
it's very noisy too.
Oh, yeah, it's a little bit noisy here, but it's going to get better after. But the 7 is all about diplomacy, ambassadors. You have
politics.
Politics. People from the government. This neighborhood is for sure people with money and want a quiet life and a nice restaurant. So I would say kind of the high bourgeoisie. That's how I will describe it. So maybe it's not a party district. It's not a place where you can come and
unless you go to the boat by the river.
Just there, just by the river. But for example, the first building that we are about to see is the Invalides, and you can tell it's grand. But it's very serious at the same time.
Yeah,
it's a military building.
And right now it looks very dramatic because we have a bit of clouds, a bit of sun. We don't know yet if it's going to be a bright sunny day. At least we know it's a windy day.
Trying to protect the microphone from the wind.
The microphone. We're gonna walk, guys, because this is a pretty long walk. So we're gonna walk to the Invalides and see you back there.
Sure.
Marie?
Yes?
There's a rabbit right here.
Oh my god, it's so cute!
Look at that.
Bertrand, there is another one over there. Okay, there is 2 rabbits. We are in front of le Musée de l'Armée. And
right here, another rabbit.
I didn't expect that because there is cannons and it's kind of
and just place. Above the rabbits, 2 massive cannons. The Army Museum, you're right. All right, so it's true. I mean, of course it's true. There are many rabbits living in the Army Museum, known also as the Invalides.
Yeah, this building...
And actually, look at that! On the ground out there.
It's hard to see them on the camera, but
look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think they're happy that the museums are closed, don't you think?
Because they can just enjoy the grass like that. Yeah.
And I like to know that at least someone is happy about it.
I am very happy about it. Bertrand, this place is a museum. It's also a military hospital. So, and that was built for that at the time. And so that's why the building is so large. It wasn't really it wasn't a thing as a museum. It became a museum later. But for a long time, the idea was to put all the veterans that were wounded during different wars and to be able to, for them to have a place to be safe, to have an apartment that would be much cheaper also. So that was the idea. But you can see the Golden Dome.
Yes.
And I think you will like that, guys.
Maybe if we step back a little bit, we'll see it even
from
more.
Further.
So it's a military hospital built in the second half of the 1600s. under the reign of King Louis XIV, the builder of Versailles. And it was a first, I mean, to have such a massive structure just outside of of Paris back then. Now it is in central Paris, but Paris was a much smaller city back then. And it was quite unique to have this huge hospital dedicated to invalid soldiers. It shows that the king wants to prove that he's treating well his soldiers. And something not so many people know is that a lot of soldiers actually were working on building Versailles. When they were not at war, they were building Versailles. So it's kind of a payback from Louis XIV to offer a house.
I do have another version of this story. Yes, it's true, it's very generous of the king and blah, 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 so it's great. But
generous, I don't know, but
But in the sense that apparently those people that were coming back from war, they were also, for most of them, living in the street. And that was also a problem at the time, to have so many homeless people that used to be in the military and being in the street. So it was not really good for the image of France and of the king. So apparently that's also the reason where he wanted to kind of hide them, you know, in a beautiful place, but also it was a good way to put them aside. So
you're saying it's more a prison than a...
No, I'm not saying a prison. I'm just saying that they were out of the streets, which is a good thing, but also it was, let's say, for him to say Paris is a clean city, you know what I mean? So
yes.
But it didn't put them
we don't want soldiers out in the streets.
Yeah, it didn't
angry,
put them
in
the center of Paris, close to the Louvre. It could have, you know, but no, we choose here, which was called La Plaine de Grenelle, and La Plaine de Grenelle was a place where you had basically nothing here. So it was a flat land. That's why the Invalides, you saw the park, it's completely flat. That was all this part here that was not in use. And so that's when it started that. Then the military school, also Ecole Militaire, came,
which is down
and
the road.
Much later, the Eiffel Tower also.
So this is the Plaine de Grenelle, that's the name of this?
Yeah, that's the name of the... Now we just say Grenelle, and we also refer to this district as the Seine district or the Invalides district, but for a long time it was called La Plaine de Grenelle. And yeah, from here we can see a little bit more the dome, the Golden Dome of Napoleon.
So you say the Golden Dome of Napoleon. It's because he's buried under it, right?
Just under it. Actually, it's not... it was not meant to be, again, the Napoleon's tomb, so this whole building kind of created his history with the time. At first it was the chapel, I mean the church that was holding masses for the militaries.
Yeah.
And then when we decided to get back the rest, or like we say, the ashes of Napoleon from the island where he was, he died in exile, as you know, so he didn't die in France. So when we decided to put him back here, we decided that would be quite a good
spot.
Good spot. Not in the Pantheon, not with the other ones, not with all the
heroes
of the
yeah.
revolution. Something different, because it's true that in the military field, it's very part. I mean, Napoleon is one of the highest figure you can imagine. In France, if you ask anyone that is a military, he will have quite a good pride being, you know, part of the history of Napoleon.
Even though there start to be big debates on the news, in magazines, etc., about what should we do about the Napoleon's legacy, because there are millions of people who died during the Napoleonic Wars, and so is Napoleon responsible for that? Is he the only responsible? Was he a bloody dictator? Was it a savior? It's a big debate we have here in France, and I don't know if back home you have a very clear idea about who Napoleon is or is not, or did or did not. Mm-hmm. That could be interesting for you guys to let us know in the comments. What's the view on Napoleon for you and in your country? If we have some British viewers today, we do know already what you think of him, so we're good.
C'est dingue, ce truc, complètement fou.
So Marie, you're taking nice photos?
Yes. Yeah, it's just beautiful.
Look at this sky, it's crazy, because behind us, you can guess with the gold shining, the sun is bright, blue sky, But right in front of us, it looks like a storm has passed or is about to start.
Yeah, actually.
This is a strange day today.
Yeah, where you see the cloud is indicating the direction for the Rodin Museum. So the museum dedicated to this sculpture Rodin, who made the thinker. Maybe we.
You mean he's quite a cloudy
no,
sculptor or something, or it's just a practical connection you made between the dark clouds and Rodin?
Just to say that it's just behind the Invalides.
Okay.
But yeah, the Golden Dome is absolutely amazing with this dark sky. So yeah, so that's the church. You can see how massive the thing is, and yeah, maybe.
I'm going to try to show you on the screen. So the church starts here. The entrance is there, which is from the other side, and then you have the nave there, and then here, under here, is where it used to be the altar. The altar was under the dome to give an impression, a sentiment of ascending to the sky. But today, it is divided into two churches. So that section here is still the Cathedral of the Army. It's a church called Saint Louis of the Army. It's the Catholic Cathedral of the French Army. And then the rest here, that part here, so under the dome, is part of the museum. And it's there, actually in the basement, that Napoleon is buried since 1840. He died in 1821, and 19 years later, the British allowed us to bring back the remains of Napoleon. I'm not so sure actually, because I read many new things about it. So I'm reading now that it's not so much that they didn't say yes before, it's that it's only in 1840 that the French government asked to the British Crown if we could get the body of Napoleon back. And this is also due to the fact that after Napoleon, the next regime was a monarchy. They hated Napoleon, so they were fine with having him dying on a rock and his body being just thrown at the sea. But in 1840, years have passed, and the king in place, whose name was Louis Philippe, wanted to be a connection between the pro-Napoleon and the pro-monarchy and the pro-revolution, etc. So having Napoleon coming back here was also a way to show that he's the king of all the French, the one who like Napoleon, the one who don't like him, and putting him here in the center of Paris, in the army center, was a way to honor Napoleon as a French general and a French ruler. Doesn't matter if he was not from the same family at all. And so today it's part of the museum. It's quite cool to go.
Yeah,
to go in there.
because the museum is so it's not just about Napoleon. It's also about the World War, but also you had a collection of swords.
Yes.
If you're into that item.
Swords and shields and armors. There's there are quite a few rooms also about the French fighting for the American Revolution, for the French Revolution, from the Franco-Indian Wars. It's a very, very large museum. It's hard to do it all in one day, but we do have a few guides who like this place very much, and they're really, really interesting to listen to when you come here.
Just in front of the Invalides, you have a building that doesn't really look like the architecture we have usually in Paris. So it's true that in Paris we have 17th century, even Middle Ages or Haussmannian time, so 19th century, but we don't have that many buildings that looks like that. Apparently this one is from the 20s, and this used to be one of the apartments, used to be the one of Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. You probably know him because of The Little Prince. The Little Prince being the book that is the most translated book in the world after the Bible. Imagine
Wow.
that. So it's existing in hundreds of different languages. And so Antoine de Saint-Exupéry used to live there. He was a young pilot during World War II. He actually died in a very mysterious way. We know that he was covering, because he was doing reports during the war. So he was covering a zone by the Mediterranean, and apparently he was shot, or his plane was shot, because he did crash, and we don't know where his body was. We never actually found the plane. So there is kind of mysterious, a lot of mysteries about that. But his book, The Little Prince, was printed in New York and published in New York, and that's why probably
Before France.
Before France, and so that's probably why it's so known, because it was straight away in English as well, in French and in English. And so I just love The Little Prince because it's at the same time philosophical. It's a social kind of.
Can you remind us a little bit
the story?
The story of the Little Prince?
Just about this little boy that living in a tiny planet. He's the only one human, let's say, living in a human or whatever, living on his planet with a little rose, and he's protecting the rose under a beautiful. Glass protection. And then he's leaving his planet, he's discovering all the other planets, and each planet has a different person, and of course incarnating a different philosophy or a different, for example, someone that is obsessed with numbers and money, and the other is, so that's kind of the story behind that. And then is meeting an aviator, so is meeting actually the figure that could be Saint-Exupéry himself, and they become great friends and all that. So it's a story about, I think just philosophy about human beings and how you interact with people and how you grow also as a person. So yeah, it's very beautiful. I mean, that's my first book actually. That's my very first book, the very first book I received when I was a kid.
It's quite a common book to read as a kid, but it's also interesting to reread it as an adult, because you read it.
You have a lot of critique about society
and actually I've given a lot of tours to American schools through France, and almost all of them had studied The Little Prince.
I'm not
school,
surprised.
whether it was in French class or in literature. Saint-Exupéry was living in this building right until the war started, because he moved from this building in 1940.
Now, can I give you a personal anecdote here?
Yes.
Okay. So this is where I did my very first driving lessons as well.
What do you mean?
Because I had because in France it's not at 16 you get your driving license. It's more, it's more at 18. So
how old were you, Marie?
I think I was 18. I was 18.
18?
Yeah, I was 18. I was just finishing senior high, and so I was coming here. I remember that for the very first hours of driving. So I was trying to drive here from there to there, and then turning and coming back. So that's my little personal anecdote here.
Can you guys imagine young Marie driving a car for the first time?
Yeah.
Like the taxi right here. Did you bump into other cars, or you don't remember
no,
that?
I'm a very good driver.
I know you're a very good driver now, but that was your first lesson. I was not a good driver on my first lesson.
No, that was good enough.
All right, but still we do walking tours. We don't do driving tours, right?
Not us, no.
All right, we're going to continue our stroll through the 7th district. You can see that we're walking towards the sunny side.
Yeah, we're going to go to see now the Ecole Militaire. That's going to be our next
school, our next stop. So you guys can track our tour. We're going to Ecole Militaire, military school, which is a little bit of a walk this way. The 7th district is a pretty big district, so the distances are a bit long, and we are going to see you back there. So we've reached the Ecole Militaire, but there's something strange. There's a whole new building.
Bertrand, what is this? I have to confess, I think it has been at least 6 months that I didn't walk here in this neighborhood, and now I'm discovering this massive structure, and I have no idea what that is.
So that means you didn't watch the tour we gave with Manu of the Eiffel Tower.
Maybe
because that building was about to be
about to be done, but
about to be built.
Okay, but I didn't saw this. So.
So this is a temporary structure that is built to replace the Grand Palais we started with, remember, on the other side of the river?
What do you mean replacing the Grand Palais?
Because the Grand Palais is going to go under major renovation work and to host the events that were supposed to happen at the Grand Palais. This structure here is being built.
Wow.
And it's being built at the end of the Champ de Mars, which means in front of the Eiffel Tower, we see in the back out there.
It's so strange.
But we're going to go back to the Eiffel Tower. Let's not spoil you guys with the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, we're going to see her at the end. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's all new, so I'm very surprised.
It's not just to you, Mary. It's being built. It's new to everyone.
No, but I mean, even the project. I mean, I didn't even saw the scaffolding, before. I mean, I'm just discovering that, like, it just arrived this night, So I'm very sorry. I'm under shock here because I grew up here. Maybe for you that doesn't mean nothing. But to me, it's like every day almost I was coming here.
I'm so sorry that no one told you they were building this mega structure in your garden, Marie.
No.
I'm going to talk to the mayor tonight.
I mean, I knew they will do something, but yeah, I wouldn't expect something that large. Wow.
Because it's true, it's a pretty impressive structure. And maybe also our generation, we're not so used to seeing new buildings being built in Paris because the city is already so dense, there are already so many buildings.
Sure.
Then having a new one feels strange, but it kind of mimics the shape of the Grand Palais.
I don't know if we're gonna hear a lot what you're saying, unfortunately. But yeah, let's go to a more quiet place maybe here.
Okay, so now we're facing the entrance of the Ecole Militaire, but we don't have we cannot go have the background, the depth we wanted because of the structure. But this is a big military school built in the 1700s.
Isn't Louis XVI that had the idea?
15th.
Oh, it's 15. Okay.
Louis the 15th and his mistress of the time, Madame de Pompadour, whose brother was in charge of the royal monuments. And so having the responsibility to build this new one was quite a big job for him and was also quite a source of income, you can guess. And it's built in this new style back then, which is called neoclassical.
Yeah, with the columns.
Yeah.
The Corinthian, the fake Corinthian columns.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kind of copying the Greek and Roman temples, but putting them with a more modern twist. So that's the school. It's still a school today, right?
Yeah. So it's maybe we can go that way.
Yeah, we're gonna.
So it's a
go around it.
It's a very specific place where they teach to officers in the military in France, and they also have a whole section for horse riding. So they have a specialty of cavalry. We're
You
gonna
mean
see
still
the door.
today?
Still
or it's
today.
just that they didn't change the name?
No, still today. Actually, if you are a Parisian, you can go horse riding in Ecole Militaire.
You mean if you are a Parisian and your dad is in the army?
No. Doesn't have to. No, you can just apply to be in a club. They do
Really?
they have a horse club for kids living in Paris. So you can horse ride here. You also have a tennis court. But I think those are more for kids that are having someone in the army.
My roommate at some point, who was working for the defense ministry, he was allowed to go there, to play tennis there.
So you can see, the traditional building more here with the cavalry.
And so to the side is the artillery for cannons.
So over there, you mean? No, I don't think here they had any weapons such as the cannons we saw on the Invalides.
Yes, Marie, if I can show you. on that section, on this building you were filming, we can still see, maybe you guys can see here, there are still tracks of bullets from the Second World War.
Yeah, we still have little holes, but they are quite
Bullet
far
holes.
from here. Okay, so now we are getting to go in more in the 7th, more in the residential streets. So,
You mean food?
I do mean food. You know me, Bertrand. So we're gonna get the best things we can have in the 7th district.
Because you've given a lot of tours in this neighborhood.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
they were mostly about food, right?
Yeah, because the 7th district, like we say before, it's huge building, serious monuments and institutions.
Official stuff.
Exactly, but in between you have a nice, everyday life with restaurants and.
Look at the view to the
spots.
Golden Dome from here.
Okay.
So good food shops and big monuments. That's how you would describe the 7th district after all.
Yeah, and the Eiffel Tower. So a lot of tourists when it's the season, of course. So yeah, let's go. Let's go
All
to
right.
Rue Cler.
Rue Cler.
Here we are in Rue Cler.
Rue Cler.
So you will see this street is worth a little walk because it's a lot of things about food, just the best brand. So yeah, follow me. First,
We're going to the post office.
yeah, no, this is the post. No, just here you have Mariage Frère. Mariage Frère is the specialist in French tea. French tea meaning, of course, tea that is growing in all the parts of the world, but being transformed here in France, and we flavor it with flowers, with fruits, with different notes of cacao, or vanilla, or strawberry, whatever we want to put in. And so so Mariage Frère, to me,
go?
I don't know if we can go in. You can just have a quick look from here, probably, but it is very beautiful.
No? D'accord. So no.
So very nice tea. And to go with the tea, luckily for us today, we have nice chocolate with Alain Ducasse. Alain Ducasse is one of the greatest chefs we have in France. You probably know Alain Ducasse because he's known also abroad. And they have a little boutique of chocolate just right here.
And when you say just right here, Marie, it is just right here.
Yeah, that's what is good about Rue Cler. It's you do 2 steps and you're having a great brand. So Alain Ducasse being here, you have also François Pralus a little bit further, La Durée with the macarons. So it's just the dreamland for me.
So Alain Ducasse, he was doing little Valentine's chocolate. There's always a good reason for.
So yeah, you can see that
chocolate.
this street is always like that. Maybe we can show you more around. So it looks like an open market, but it's every day of the week. So you can see over there the fruits and vegetable hanging here.
I love the colors. We're towards the end of orange and clementines and all, and the strawberries and berries getting started. It looks great. So it's open every day.
It's open every day, and and a lot of people are coming here from this neighborhood, but from other neighborhoods also. It's quite popular street for all Parisians, and you can see.
I had a friend living not too far, and every time I was seeing him, we're coming here.
This is pretty.
And it's relaxed. There are no cars, or very rarely cars in the streets.
Yeah, this street is known to be quite pedestrian. You see, it looks like you're in a town in France. So
Getting your baguette and. And the Pralus. Yeah, but that's not a Parisian thing.
No,
from Lyon.
the guy is from Lyon, but the specialty became quite famous in Paris as well. Mm-hmm. This is the specialty of François Pralus. This is called praluline, and it's not exactly a brioche, but looks like it.
Oh,
Inside
I thought
is
it was a brioche.
no, inside it's a pâte feuilletée, so it's more like a croissant dough with a lot of butter, and you have this little pink thing on the top, and those are pralines, which are
Pralines, yeah.
almonds and hazelnut covered in sugar that was colored in pink. And those are homemade macarons. So I'm just showing you because, guys, François Pralus is one of my top 10 chocolatier.
Yes.
And yeah, and
There's
macaron
one thing I like by looking at his macaron, because we've passed another macaron shop but we didn't stop, is that each macaron looks different from the other
they are
one.
really homemade.
And this is something important for you guys. If all the macarons have exactly the same shape and perfectly round and they all look the same, then they're made by a machine.
Yeah.
Well, if they, they have their imperfection, which make them so yummy, then they are homemade.
So to continue with the macaron topic, we
Yes.
have here La Durée. So you probably know this brand by now because it's
All over.
known all over.
Oh, but by the way, I've heard they're selling.
They do?
Yes, they are selling. If you guys have a lot of money back home, well, first, don't hesitate to tip your guides, and second, you can buy La Durée. They are selling. It's a family.
I love
Yeah,
you can buy La Durée.
Of course, it's a family from northern France who owns it with the bakeries Paul. They're called Holder, and they're selling the La Durée brand. So hopefully it's someone who knows how to make good macaron who's going to buy that. Not just the name, we want our good macaron to stay good.
So just aside of Rue Cler, there is this little boutique I really like also, where they're selling a lot of peppers from all over the world. They're also selling olive oil. So I do like this place. A lot. So we can have a quick look.
The one with the bear?
Yeah. Bonjour. Ben, ça va bien, merci. Attends, je vais te donner ça. Eh bien écoute, à la place de faire des vrais tours, on fait des virtuels tours, comme beaucoup de gens. Et vous, ça va? Ouais. Vous avez quand même ouais, vous avez des locaux qui continuent à venir.
Well, Marie is having a chat
Ouais.
with the owner of the shop.
Ok.
I'm showing you that the little teddy bear is
Ouais.
getting his mask
Okay.
too.
Bon bah super.
That is a beautiful shop. So Marie, I saw you were talking with the guy?
Yeah. So his name is Pascal, and so he's the owner of the place, and he's very nice.
And he's okay, we go inside and film?
Yeah,
Not like Mariage Frère?
Let's have a look.
Kind of got kicked out of the other place.
Let's have a quick look inside.
Ooh la la. It's impossible for you guys to get the sense of the smell that there is in this shop, but you can trust us.
Ouais, du coup on fait ça.
It smells fantastic. It's like a firework of smells. There's spices, there's truffle, there's oil. You can smell chocolate too. So we are very ooh. And I see Marie. They have Anne Roses, which is Basque food. Good.
So it's all the best.
I was looking for a way to mention the Basque country in this tour, and I've just found it. They really have the best of French gastronomy in here. Let's look at the on the spices a little bit.
Something different. You also have.
Yeah, I always want to see something different. What is this? An Eiffel Tower?
Yeah, with the salt.
Oh. And then coffee beans.
Coffee beans, yeah, from all over.
From Colombia, Guatemala.
So whenever you're coming in pairs, guys, yeah, we're gonna bring you here and you can try all of those.
I love doing these tours with you, Marie, because I realize that I talk so much about history in my tours, I forget to talk about food.
Well, maybe we're gonna continue our little tour.
Merci, monsieur.
Bah oui, à bientôt du coup. Merci beaucoup, au revoir. Oops, let's go. Oh, and This is also a new tradition. I
Yeah.
saw that in the Saint-Germain, to put a little teddy bear waiting
Exactly.
for other people to come. So yeah, let's go that way. So Bertrand, what do you think about Rue Cler?
I love Rue Cler. It's true. It looks like a tiny village street. I mean, look at this building. Because you're only showing the wine, Marie, but if you show above it, we'll see that there's only one story above, and then the sky. So it's all small. I mean, maybe for you guys, this is exactly what Paris is all about. But there are not so many streets that are really like this one. So I quite enjoy that one.
So we're looking at specialty of France here, gratin dauphinois, and here we have a croque monsieur,
And quiches.
little quiches.
Some Parisian mushrooms.
Yeah, we really have everything to replace our restaurants that are still closed.
Yeah, that's the point. The guy who was telling you that his shop is doing quite well, despite the fact that this is a crazy year. But it's also because since the restaurants are closed, we locals spend tons of money on buying really good food, so we cook at home.
True, but wasn't that like the case already? Like buying really good food and cooking at home for French?
Yeah,
No?
yes, yes. But at the same time, if you have a restaurant just down your building, well, you can be a bit lazy and go to the restaurant. Now we have to cook.
So you see, guys, we're doing 2 steps. We're getting to the chicken, 2 other steps the wine, 2 other steps the cheese. I just love this street for that, because yeah, this is La Fromagerie, and as you can imagine, this is where we can find les fromages.
Oh la la.
See a beautiful,
A lot of goat cheeses at the moment.
which is strange because normally winter is not really the season for goat cheeses, but. And on the other side of the street, so wine again, and on the other side of the street, the fish, of course. Let's have a quick look at the seafood here. So we can find oysters, Saint-Jacques, fishes, so from all over France. So yeah, so I think you guys understood why we love this street so much, Rue Cler and the 7th district. It's really around here. It's that's
Yeah,
kind of
you-
the central point.
You find streets like that once you get off the main roads and avenues. The main roads are for the big monuments, and then the smaller ones are for locals to go shop. And it's still very lively. I like that very much.
And Bertrand, I told you I'm going to talk about myself again.
Yes.
But this is the street where I was doing my high school also.
In Rue Cler?
Yeah, Rue Cler. Just on the other side. You have one side that is for food, and the
Now
other
I
side.
understand the food obsession.
Ah, thank you.
You're saying that you were going to high school in a food market.
Yes, kind of. I mean, for lunchtime, that was the place. Maybe I can show you from here. But I mean, just a building. So this is.
But I'm sure there's a plaque that says Marie came to study here from
not
that year
yet
to this
Bertrand,
year.
but it will be one day.
She was not a great student, but she became a great guide,
Come
something
on.
like that, right?
I was a great student. What are you talking about? You're just jealous. So this is the building, guys. This big building that used to be my high school. So collège in French. And I was lucky. I was very lucky because Collège Jules Romain also have a little swimming pool and.
You're kidding? Its
yeah.
own swimming pool?
Yeah, it's on swimming pool, and so it was, and it's pretty big, as you can imagine inside. So yeah, no, I was good here. But maybe we're gonna go now by more by the Eiffel Tower. So yeah, let's go.
We have reached the Avenue de la Bourdonnais, which is one of the main avenue of the 7th district, Avenue de la Bourdonnais, you can see here. And it's also the one just by the Eiffel Tower, almost.
Yes, we are arriving to the on the side of Champ de Mars. So Champ de Mars is the park that is in front of the Eiffel Tower. It's a very large park, and the name Mars is coming from the god of war. You know, during the Roman time, the Greek time, they had different gods, and Mars was representing the war. And that's because for a long time, this was all here, everything you're looking at, this was the field where militaries were training.
Just like the military school then?
Attached to the military school. So this was really a military field. And so around the military field, of course, they had beautiful space now it's not in use anymore, so they could build those amazing buildings here. So all Avenue La Bourdonnais, this one here, Avenue
Deschanel.
Avenue Émile Deschanel, on the other side Avenue de Suffren, all those are linked with the high bourgeoisie I was telling you at the very beginning of this video.
You can tell, I mean, look at the gorgeous buildings.
So of course, if you're lucky enough to live here, you have a view on the Eiffel Tower from your apartment. So yeah, that's the best.
Wow, yeah. And these are also buildings that have a private garden.
Yeah, private garden, but it's more...
These are apartments, or it's one family that owns the whole place?
I couldn't tell. For what I know of the families that I knew when I was a kid growing up here, they had apartment there, but pretty big. So maybe one floor for one family. So
you mean that your friends from school?
Yeah, they were living.
They were living in places like that.
Over there also. So yeah, so was so this was my playground. When I grew up, primary school, high school, this was every weekend I was passing time here with my friends. Every day I was crossing it with a bus. So yeah.
And when you say here, what people don't see yet is that she's right there.
Ah, yeah, the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what is it?
Look at that, look at
no,
that.
No.
Oh yeah, the Eiffel Tower.
No.
Yeah. I know you like trees better than towers, Marie. And the Champ de Mars is a big garden.
I think I prefer nature than human confection. But for the Eiffel Tower, it's a bit different. I have a special...
attachment to the Eiffel Tower?
Yeah, special affection to the Eiffel Tower.
And that if you want to know more about the Eiffel Tower, guys, a few months ago, Manuel and I did a tour, a special Eiffel Tower tour, where we actually climbed from the ground to the first and second floor through the stairs. And then we went all the way to the top. That was back in September. We were the only one on the very top of the Eiffel Tower. That never happened to me before. And so you can check this video, the special Eiffel Tower tour. You can see that the tower is pretty dark today. This is because it is actually being repainted. So there are a lot of fabric around it. You can see some part they're covered a little bit like a scarf or a sock.
I was told they are painting it by hand. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just with little brushes.
Yes. You actually have mountain climbers who are going up the Eiffel Tower with a pot of paint. I saw them, and this is not a urban myth. Manuel and I, we talked to them back in September. So they have a pot of paint attached to their belt like this. They climb the tower, and with a single brush, they repaint the tower like that. So they're not painters. They are mountain climbers.
It's amazing.
And they do that every 7 years. They have to start all over again. So this is being done now. Mm-hmm. Usually they do it portion by portion, more slowly. I mean, it takes longer. But since the Eiffel Tower is closed, they decided to go faster. So they do more section at the same time. So then we're done with it. Which means when it's reopening, it's going to be even brighter and more beautiful. On the other side, I rediscover yes.
this building. It's actually pretty nice. I mean, I was just surprised, but it does look good. So I think this is goodbye. We are in the best place of the 7, probably, right in the middle of the Mars.
It was a great afternoon. Thank you, Marie, for
that was
taking
fun.
me to your favorite food stores, showing me your high school.
Yes.
I'm quite jealous. I moved to Paris after high school, so. But it was a great time. I hope you guys liked it. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please let us a comment, share this video. You can let us a tip, of course. And maybe we're going to continue with the 8
That could be a good idea if your guys are up for that. The 8th.
There might be some more Napoleon stories in the 8th.
Maybe, and we're also going to talk about the opera, no?
Ah, yeah.
The Opéra
so much on
Garnier.
the plate.
So yeah, so that's going to be fun. So let's say
Let's wrap it up for today. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much.
See you next weekend.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Take care.